Thank you, Shreya. I'm Peter Bendor-Samuel, and I am the CEO of the Everest Group. Now, the Everest Group is a research firm, and we build and design our research to help executives increase their confidence in decisions. Now, by confidence, we're referring to the executive's confidence, their organization's confidence in the decision, and their customers and supply chain's confidence. We don't focus on what you should do or helping you do it, but what you need to know and helping explain that to your organization, customers, and supply chain. Now, it's my great pleasure today to have a fireside chat with Nikki Neuburger. She's the Chief Brand Officer for Lululemon. Before I have Nikki introduce herself, let me just give you my view of Lululemon. And I think it's a real privilege for all of us to listen to Nikki, because Lululemon is really one of the leaders in customer experience. And they've done an amazing job moving from an apparel company, a great apparel company, to a lifestyle brand company that leans strongly into social community, loyalty programs, and have this amazing content in their Lululemon studios. So Nikki, why don't you tell us more about yourself and the firm you serve?
Yes, thank you for having me, Peter, and thank you to all of you tuning in. As Peter said, my name is Nikki Neuburger. I am the Chief Brand Officer for Lululemon. What that means is that I lead the marketing, creative, communications, and sustainable business and impact functions for the organization. And really what I'm responsible for is driving our brand and storytelling initiatives around the world. So I am ultimately responsible for building the brand that more people know and love as we're on this phenomenal business growth track as well. And prior to joining Lululemon, I served as the head of marketing for Uber Eats globally for a couple of years, and Nike before that, also in marketing for about 15 years. Why I'm so excited to talk to you all today about Lululemon, and Peter, thank you for the kind words, is really what you outlined, just the path that this organization has been on for 25 years. We're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, really born out of designing apparel for yoga to the brand we are today, which is a leader in technical athletic apparel, footwear, accessories across a myriad of activities beyond yoga, including running, training, and other fitness activities, as well as our acquisition of the Mirror, which we have evolved into being Lululemon Studio, really is creating a promise for our consumers that this is a lifestyle and that this is a community. Our purpose as an organization is to elevate human potential by helping people to feel their best. And we are a team really committed to our culture around well-being, both in the workplace, so what we do for our employees, but on the outside as well from a consumer perspective. So really excited to be here to talk to you all about Lululemon and about technology at Lululemon, as that really has been the unlock for a lot of this growth over the past 25 years.
Thank you, Nikki. So, Nikki, we're thinking about CX, and when I think about something like CX, I think about what's the key objective, what's the North Star that you think about as you try to design that whole experience?
Yeah, well, for us, the consumer is at the center of everything that we do, and the consumer experience is something that we talk about every day. And really what we mean when we talk about that experience is designing an environment that no matter where our consumer is interacting with us or with the community, whether that's in stores, whether that is through our e-com platform, it could be in our app, it could be through Lululemon Studio, which you also mentioned, that it feels like a cohesive and seamless experience that is without friction, and what I like to say, avoids the 51st dates feeling. So it recognizes me, it knows what I am into, it has some idea of what I did here last time, so that it feels extremely relevant and personalized. And if you look at where Lululemon was historically, that was really an easy promise to deliver on because it was born out of bricks and mortar retail. you could really promise that seamless personalized experience when you were walking into a store and interacting with the same educator or same group of educators, which is what we call our associates, on a daily basis. And as we've grown and expanded, what we have aimed to deliver is that same intimacy of that connection between a guest, which is what we call our consumer, and that educator across all of our touch points, whether, again, you're in a different channel or whether you're in a different country, and making sure that you feel the same brand value, and that you get the same experience and access to product and service that you would the same as day one walking into a store and talking with a human being.
When we were preparing for this, we were talking about, we're just at one of those moments in time where it feels like it's just everything's changing so fast. And expectations are going through the roof for customer experience. As you think about that, how do you stay on top of the game? Where are you taking this? What do you think of the, wow, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And I hope to take away from listening to others speaking at this conference all the things everybody is up to, because there's so much going on. There can't possibly be one organization or person that's got it all figured out. Think a few things that we have prioritized since I've joined the company in the last 3 years, where a lot of crazy stuff was thrown at us, both at the macro level and then obviously through innovations in technology as well, has been to ensure that we have dedicated teams that are focused on the future. So one thing that I think we've come to really appreciate is it's incredibly hard to deal in the day-to-day of the business right this second and keep up with how quickly technology is moving and how quickly our guests are moving in terms of adopting those technologies or coming to expect that those technologies are just part of standard practice. So making sure that we've got teams that working from an insights perspective, keeping tabs on future platforms and technologies, and also just macro trends that can feed in at appropriate times what we should be keeping an eye on. So that's one thing for sure. I think also identifying opportunities to scale our technology teams. So one thing that we've done in the last couple of years that we're super proud of is stand up a technology hub based in India, which is a team of incredible human beings who is helping us to just get ahead again on lots of technologies that would probably take us longer, or would cost lots more money because it's the same team juggling that day-to-day business. And really, I guess the best way to describe it is diversifying our resources of where our technology and innovations are coming from. Those are just two examples, but it does feel like a daily conversation at this point in terms of what do we got going on? What are the continued iterations that we need to be making on today's customer experience, all the way to what are those emerging platforms? What do we see in the future? Where are we willing to place bets and take risks on where we believe that our guests will go, so that we don't fall a step behind or miss an opportunity to connect with them, and again, just maintain that seamless relationship.
So one of the things we in research get to observe, so let me put it this way. We're now, 10, 15 years into this digital revolution, right? Digital's been around how long? Lululemon, 10-year journey, 15-year journey, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So where that's landing us and where that's landing customers in this is highly intimate and highly dynamic relationship between their operations and their tech stack. And in this instance, in retail, their customers, their operations, and their tech stack. So that you can't operate now without technology, and you can't change your operations. And as your clients change, you have to change it. So you've got this ever increasing pace of change going, right? And the intimacy, that it's almost impossible to think about the operations model, the platform you're on, without thinking the technology, without thinking about the people. And vice versa. It's almost becoming one thing. Is that what you see going on in Lululemon?
100%. I mean, I think one of the benefits of our model is that we are vertical, and that is still relatively unique when you look at our competitor set in terms of what brands and options consumers have to choose from. I feel extremely fortunate to be inside of a vertical organization at this moment in time because of exactly what you've outlined, just the access to data and understanding of our guests in real time across all of our touch points really sets, I think, me and our teams up to deliver into relationship building through personalization, through loyalty programs, you name it, just a lot more quickly than I think some of the brands that are still needing to balance how they maintain a seamless connection through a wholesale model or through sharing those consumers with others. I also think what's, again, really unique to us, and I spoke a little bit about it in my first answer, but again, everything that we do has really always been about that connection between our consumer and an educator. That is where we saw the magic happen. And I think if you talk to anyone at Lululemon, they would talk about that secret sauce that really is a person being able to connect with a guest, understand what their needs are, and help them find what they're looking for as quickly as possible. And so that's actually the filter we've used as we're looking at new technologies, some that we've already introduced and some that we are continuing to keep an eye on and test as we head into the future, which is how can we create that same level of intimacy and connection without a person needing to be in a store and standing face to face and having a conversation with an educator. One example of that is our digital educator program, which sounds really obvious based on what I just said to you. But if you walk into a store and Peter, you are my educator and you help me find what I'm looking for. Well, what if I'm now in a location where there's not a store that's easy for me to get to, but I still love the brand and I still want to have that same great experience? Well, through technology, we now have this digital educator program. You can book an appointment or you can just show up ad hoc and start to chat with an educator who will help you navigate our site, navigate the app, and really have a pretty similar experience to if you were standing following someone around a physical store to find the short you were looking for or a new pair of socks.
You know, I was going to put this as a question, but I'll do it as a comment. You know, what you just sort of, I think, unpacked is how you can be able to move from this great apparel company into this fabulous lifestyle and now, technology company. It just that's quite a journey, right? I mean, really remarkable, really, really remarkable. You know, as you're thinking about these technologies, you know, what's exciting you about, we talked about the world changing very rapidly, right? We're at this one of these moments in time where it feels like everything's changing. Call out one technology that you really got your eye on that you think.
I'm going to call out two. I'm going to call out two, if you're okay with that.
Who's better than one?
Yeah. Well, so you and I had the opportunity to talk a week or so ago, and one of the things that I felt like was really important to express about Lululemon's philosophy around technology is we're still a small and growing company, which means we don't want to waste time or resources on jumping on what feels more like a trend in the technology world, as opposed to identifying something that we actually feel is really going to solve an unmet need or is going to create measurable value for our guest and in that consumer experience. And I think there's lots of really cool things going on in the metaverse and with NFTs, and we haven't really been able to identify, I think, an edge that feels like a sustainable value add for what our guests are telling us they need from us right this second. When you list out sort of, hey, what are the top 10 pieces of feedback from our guests in terms of their experience on our website or in stores, or just what they would be looking for us to do next? they're very practical things. And I think where that gets me to in terms of my examples is moving kind of away from what might feel like shiny objects and into really practical technologies that are solving real problems that our guests have. And that's where AI, I think, has limitless potential for us. And I'll just give two examples. So one that we are testing in real time is AI functionality that we can build into our PDP pages so that you can select the size that you most closely identify with and see the product that you're shopping on somebody that more closely resembles your body type or shape. And why that's meaningful to us from a business perspective, I oversee our photo studio that powers our e-com website. And you can imagine how much product, if you're trying to shoot every color, every inseam length of every style we have, it's mathematically very challenging to get all of those SKUs through in a timely manner. And if you imagine that every one of those images costs a certain amount of money, it's expensive. And what AI is allowing us to do is to actually create exponentially more number of assets, and without having to pick one single model that may or may not be somebody who you aspire to look like, or that resembles you, or is reflective of how you want to shop. And instead, we can now personalize that experience and just make it a lot easier for you to imagine yourself in the product. So that's one example. And I think that's super cool, meaningful, tangible value add to the business. Another exciting side of AI, and we've been talking a lot about Move AI recently, is our ability to really capture a ton of data around movement that normally would take us maybe even years to acquire that much data and inputs. And one example I would give you is around wear testing. So we typically, for any new product, have a limited number, a baseline number of hours or number of people that we want to get through the product and get their feedback so that we can iterate in real time. And if you just take our footwear, which we just launched a new category last year as an example, imagine how long it would take you to get wear testing feedback from thousands of consumers all over the world who you're having to mail a physical shoe to, have them actually take time to run a certain amount of miles in it, send it back to us, and us be able to flip it upside down and see where the wear marks are on that shoe. Well, through a technology like Move AI, we can actually do all of that virtually, which blew my mind. I don't think I really fully understood the potential of a technology like Move AI for our business until we started to see some of these tangible examples. And those are just two, but you can imagine what else could be out there with these technologies that have, again, adding real value for our guests, which I think is our number one priority, but then obviously is adding a ton of value to our bottom line and to our efficiency in terms of time.
I think our time's almost up, but as I reflect on this conversation, you at Lululemon, I think you exemplify many other firms, you're turning into a tech company, right? I mean, you're a great retailer, you're a great lifestyle company, but at the heart, you're becoming a tech company and the pace of change. And I think that the lessons for us all on that, as we think about our own company and and I know we have a lot of people in this audience who are service providers, as they think about how they might help companies like you, I think it's a very bright future. I mean, the pace of change is just ever increasing. And that's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. So, Nikki, thank you for your time. Thank you, audience, for being with us. I hope you appreciate Nikki's insights, and look forward to seeing you. I actually look forward to seeing you in the store or online. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks, Peter.
Over to you, Shreya.
For more interesting content, like, comment, and subscribe to our NASSCOM YouTube channel.